first back in the days, like the first few years we were in business, everything that happened, you felt like, oh my gosh, this is going to ruin us. And it's just like there's always things that happen in business. And that's what I want to help people understand when they're growing their own business, is understanding that there's going to be obstacles. Owning your own business isn't for everyone. It's something that can be difficult. And that's why there's the right people that can do it, and also having the right partners to help you do it that have been there before. That is one of the biggest things, is basically understanding that there's going to be hills and mountains, but it's getting over them, and just sticking through it and making sure that you stay with it, and to be successful. Those are the successful people, are the ones that really stick through it through those storms.
Welcome to Mastering the Numbers, the podcast dedicated to providing insights into business and entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Joe Mallo. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Mastering the Numbers. I am Joe Mallo with Elite Edge Consulting Group. My guest today is Diana Simmons. She's the co-founder and CEO of Simply Cabinetry. Diana, thanks for taking part in my interview series.
No, I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to learn more. Let's start there. Tell myself and the audience a little bit more about Simply Cabinetry.
So with Simply Cabinetry, it kind of almost started as a fluke back in the day, 07, 08. My husband and I, we were flipping houses, doing investment properties. And unfortunately, at that time, you couldn't do it anymore, right? So in the downturn of the market, we just kind of sold our last one, and we actually had leftover building materials. So we actually ended up selling those on Craigslist, Facebook, even the newspaper when that was a thing back in the day. And people kept coming back to us. And then we realized that actually there's something in the market that's missing for what we're providing. So then we ended up opening up a couple of corporate locations. We went through a rebrand. Now we're actually franchising. But what kind of makes us different is we just design and sell cabinetry, and we're trying to simplify it for homeowners, builders, contractors, B2B and B2C kind of business.
Yeah. And how long has Simply Cabinetry been around?
So yeah, we started this. If you count out of our garage, it's since 2008, but we officially opened our first showroom in 2010.
Awesome. And you said that you're starting to franchise. Have you already signed franchise agreements with other people, or is this just something that's brand new?
Not yet. We haven't. We have a bunch of great candidates, but at this time, we currently don't have any franchisees in the books yet, but we are working on our first couple, and we're really excited.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear that. I mean, I know a lot of really awesome business people that I've met just through this podcast, frankly, that are coming from the franchise world. I can't wait to hear more. So what was the biggest inspiration to starting your own business, besides just trying to get rid of remaining flooring and things like that from fixing up homes?
Yeah. So my husband and I have always kind of been into doing business for ourselves. So it was trying to find something that we really had a passion in. And at the end of the day, it involved real estate. And then my mom actually did a lot of design and paint and everything like that. So I kind of learned a lot from her. So I have no real certification like interior design or anything, but we've kind of been self-taught. And at the end of the day, that's where our passion was evolved from, like real estate and just properties and real estate and design. And we realized that in the marketplace, this is really missing, like where it's just that connection between homeowners, builders, contractors, and that cabinetry expert.
Yeah, I would agree. When we redid our kitchen, I mean, we went to the flooring place, we went to look at all different types of granite and quartz, but there was never anywhere we could go to look at cabinets. We just had to trust our designer to pick the right things. So I would agree there, just from my experience.
Yeah.
So you're talking about how things evolved a little bit. If you can expand on that, I mean, how has the company evolved over, let's say, just the last 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, so we've done a lot. I mean, any business through COVID, I think has like found it poked holes in any business, right? And we really took those holes and made sure that they were sealed. So in the future, there's no problems when it comes around. With our business, we actually ended up amplifying through COVID. So it's just figuring out how to simplify things and streamline in order to be as quickly and efficiently as possible with all of these processes and SOPs and everything. So it's really making sure we're simplifying it for the client so then they can get to the end result as quickly and efficiently as possible, and also simplifying it for our staff so then they can work efficiently and getting back to people quickly and knowing the product and setting up our showroom so that it's actually set up so it's almost like somebody could self shop, and it's really education that we wanted to do so then they can make that educated decision.
Oh, fantastic. So besides you and your husband, how many other individuals are on your team?
So each showroom runs off of 2 to 3 people. Right now, we're at 2 people at each location, and then we have our corporate staff that is us 4 total, including my husband and I. We actually have an outside marketer right now that's running our marketing department as well. So yeah,
Awesome. Where are your main locations at?
we're just north of Philly. We have 3 corporate
Okay.
locations. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, what have been some of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome over the years of growing this business?
Yeah. So I think a lot of it is like scaling while maintaining that quality and clarity, right? And when it comes to like having 3 locations and us not physically being there running those locations, and making sure everybody runs it the way we would run it, right? We need their personality involved, but at the end of the day, we need to make sure there's consistency. And that's one of the big things with franchising. So it's really making sure that education is in there, and also for me personally, it's that learning curve of being leadership, right? So it's not
Right.
something that I was ever taught to do. I mean, I am the oldest of 3, but learning how to be a leader at the end of the day. But I feel like I kind of inherently have those skills, having 3 boys, being a mom of 3, being the oldest in my
Yeah.
family. It's just making sure you have that compassion and a balancing of growth, team, and family. Um,
Yeah.
but I think these have shaped our focus with our process, our systems, and our people first culture.
Yeah. With having, you just mentioned you have 3 kids and you're
Mhm.
franchising, and in your family, how do you find, or are you even trying to find some type of work-life balance at this point in the company's tenure?
Yeah, so I hear you always hear that work-life balance that people talk about a lot. And I don't know if it's necessarily a balance or like just fluidity when it comes down to it.
Right.
Because being a business owner, you kind of always have one foot in the business, but it's making sure that you're there for those special moments. One of my solidifying moments with my son is when he told me, "Will you come to everything with my games?" And it was just like that was just a great defining moment in my leadership and being a mom, and making sure that I'm there for those special moments and making them count. So when I am there, I am there. So it's just
Yeah.
important to be involved and making sure that you're present.
I think that's a good way to think about it. I mean, work-life balance, the word balance, I don't
Mhm.
think truly exists. It's not a 50-50
Yeah.
proposition when you start a business. Somebody's balance might be 80-20, it might be
Mhm.
60-40, or the complete opposite direction. So I,
Yeah.
I
And I think
agree. It's
even
just trying to find a way to be present.
Yeah, and even in business and personal life, sometimes there's seasons, right? And
Yeah.
especially right now, we kind of have our business season where we were really redeveloping and rebranding over the past couple of years. So that season was heavy with my business. But at the end of the day, if my kids need me, that becomes my season that I need to focus on them. Luckily, I do have my husband I can kind of rely on, that we can go back and
Right.
forth and we can both be involved. But the way we've kind of developed this business is to make sure that everybody's accountable for what they're doing. So really, at the end of the day, I'm kind of high level on top of everything, and just making sure everybody's staying on top of what they need to do and being involved and just touching base with people here and there. So then I can really be
Yeah.
present at home, but also present in everything that we're working on with the franchise business.
Yeah. So in a way, it's making sure that you have the right people in place. So if you have to step away from the business for a few hours to go to a game, or a
Mhm.
week to go on vacation, you don't have to worry about it, right?
Exactly. It's having confidence in your team that you have the right team behind you to be able to make the decisions, have the accountability, and also the resources in order to be able to do their job and be able to assist when we're not around.
Great. If you think of it in a kind of a hindsight 2020 type thing, is there anything you would have done differently in the growth of the business?
And the growth of the business, I mean, I think the biggest thing that I've been trying to absorb anymore is understanding that in business, there's always things that are going to come around, right? And it's just taking them and analyzing them, putting them in a box, solving it, and moving on instead of sitting there and constantly thinking about it, and understanding that things happen, and it's the ability to make decisions quickly and efficiently and trusting those decisions. because over the years, you always second guess what you're doing and everything. But at the end of the day, this has been successful. So I know what we've done and the decisions we've made in the past, and they've made us successful to the point we are now. So I need to trust that and make sure that I'm
Yeah.
trusting in myself to be able to make those decisions.
All right, that's great. What's your biggest motivator? What keeps you completely focused on the business?
So it's a lot of the people. One of the things that I really get excited about is helping people and seeing them grow. So it's just like I really get that momentum going when I see people starting to do their first sale, hit their first $100,000 in sales for the month. And there's a lot of things that it's really exciting to watch people grow, and me having the ability to help them do that. And giving back to them and making sure that they're successful, and also showing my boys that their mom can be a successful mom and still be there
Yeah.
at the end of the day. So it's kind of like a mix of both things. And it's just showing that growth. And
Yeah.
I always want to learn. So it's learning and having that humble ability to want to learn and growing through that.
I mean, being a business owner, although I've only been one for 3 years myself before, leaving the corporate world, um, I think that's one of the challenges. You're going to get pressed with things all the time that you have to figure out a way to get through. So
Mm-hmm.
everything goes smooth, and all of a sudden it doesn't.
Yeah.
And then
I
you
mean,
then you
that's a
kind
part of
of
business.
then you bring it back. It is
Yeah, it is.
absolutely. So
You got to roll with the
what's
punches.
you have to. So what are some of the biggest challenges about your industry in general?
So I think the biggest thing is the overwhelmingness for the clients, right? So, and that's what we've tried to illuminate when we come to like simplifying cabinetry. I think I've said it numerous times where our clients are either a kid in a candy shop or a deer in headlights. And we want to simplify it down to the fact that we can help those clients make that educated decision and feel confident in their project, because it can become so overwhelming. There's no consistency
Yeah,
in our industry. There's no standards. I mean, there are some, but it's just like nobody's really taking it and putting it into this pretty little package for the client to be able to understand, because there are so
yeah,
many options, and it's not just picking a model. When you go to appliances, you can just have a model. You can Google that model and find all the details. But cabinetry comes down to like the wood species, the construction, the accessories, the trims. There's so many factors that get involved. And it honestly, I do tell clients sometimes it's just like it's hard to shop for cabinetry because you're not know if you're getting apples to apples. And it's just
yeah,
there's just so many people that put so many guardrails and so many different things in place that it's difficult for clients to understand what they're getting. So education, I
yeah.
think, is the most difficult part.
Would you consider that to be one of the biggest differentiators between yourself and others in the cabinetry
Yeah.
business?
Yeah, so I mean, we're not cabinet salespeople. We want to be cabinet educators, right? Our goal is from when the client walks in the door to walking out the door, they become more knowledgeable in their project. Because once I'm able to educate them to make that right decision, they should have confidence that we're going to make sure they have a successful project.
Right. Great. So where do you see the business in the next 12 to 36 months?
So ideally we have a handful of franchisees. That's like kind of like our goal at this point. And once we have those handful, really going nationwide and trying to go gung ho, because our vision
Right.
is really to provide clarity in cabinetry nationwide. Because really there's that missing aspect in the model, and we really want to sit there and hit those marks for everybody nationwide.
Yeah. So to take that a little bit further, with final couple questions, just as far as advice. I mean, what's the best advice anybody's ever given you along the way? Business advice, I would say.
Mhm. Business advice. I think that one where I said trusting in myself and the decisions, and
Yeah.
not thinking that everything is basically going to crush. I mean, even when first back in the days, like the first few years we were in business, everything that happened, you felt like, oh my gosh, this is going to ruin us. And it's just like there's always things that happen in business. And that's what I want to help people understand when they're growing their own business, is understanding that there's going to be obstacles. Owning your own business isn't for everyone. It's something that can be difficult. And that's why there's the right people that can do it, and also having the right partners to help you do it that have been there before. That
Yeah.
is one of the biggest things, is basically understanding that there's going to be hills and mountains, but it's getting over them and just sticking through it and making sure that you stay with it and to be successful. Those are the successful people, are the ones that really stick through it through those storms.
Yeah. 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 I read an article somewhere not too long ago where they were talking about small business owners, and a lot of them just give up just a fraction too soon. If they just kept their head down,
Yep.
things would have hit.
Yeah.
But it can be scary to be a small business owner.
Mm-hmm.
You're out there on your
Definitely.
own, for sure.
Definitely. And just yep.
No, go ahead, please.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, and the seasons where it may be the most painful is probably when you're learning the most, and you always got to take everything that's going on and make sure you're making it a learning experience instead of sitting there acting like it was a failure.
Yeah. So let's say you run into somebody who's a year or 2 years into owning their own store like yours. Well, let's say they're struggling, they're stressed. What kind of advice would you give them?
Take everything with a grain of salt. Look at what you can learn, look at what you can do better, reflect, and move on. So it's all about reflecting, learning, and moving on to the next step. Because if you sit there and reflect too long, you're going to be missing out on something else. So it's taking what's going on now, like analyzing it, understanding what you could have done better, implementing it, and going to move to the next step. Because if you keep thinking about that too much, it's going to bring you down and you're going to lose focus on moving forward.
So is the goal of the company long-term? Is it to sell it, exit the business and sell it, or is it to transition it to family? I mean, have you thought about that? I know it's early in your, the process, but is that something you thought about?
Yeah, I mean, it has, because whenever I go to these franchise conferences, they always say have the end in mind, right? Because you want to build that business for that end goal. And at the end of the day, my husband and I, we really don't see ourselves ever really retiring and just selling the business. We always want to be involved because we really do have a passion for this. And at the end of the day, we do see this kind of being a platform company. So we do see other businesses underneath this. Right now, we're 100% focused on the cabinetry, but we figured if we could do the hard part of home renovation or the hard part of like design and everything, then we could really scale this with other types of businesses. So we're just excited about getting this moving forward, but our goal would be to hopefully have other types of businesses that we can help develop and franchise as well.
Fantastic. Okay, final question, a little goofy question here, but what's something that people can't just Google about your business? And everybody goes on Google and they do all the research. What's the thing that they can't see about you on there?
That's a good question. I mean, it's just, I think one of our staff members, I think they always said, I think we almost have a fourth core value, and it's really just to have fun. I mean, at the end of the day, this can be a stressful business because it's just, all about design. When people are doing remodeling, it can get a little overwhelming. And it's important to make sure that we don't heavily focus on, bringing us down and making sure we're having fun while we're doing it and building each other up. So it's all about, trying to make this process as enjoyable as possible and making sure that, we're all having fun doing it.
Awesome. So sorry for the surprise question there, but that was good. That was good. So,
okay.
So first of all, I really appreciate you taking time out for the podcast, for the interview series. Yeah. If anybody wants to get a hold of you or your company, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so we have our website. We have simplycabinetry.com. We have our franchising website, which is actually simplycabinetryfranchising.com as well. They could also email me, Diana at Simply Cabinetry, or they can look me up on LinkedIn. It's Diana Simmons, CFE.
Okay, well, we'll make sure all that information's out there for our audience. And speaking of audience, thank you very much for listening in to this episode of Mastering the Numbers. And we look forward to seeing you again on the next episode. Diana,
I appreciate the time.
Once again, thank you very much. We'll talk soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, sounds good.
You've just tuned into another episode of Mastering the Numbers. We hope you found valuable insight to boost your financial success. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform and leave us a review. Keep pushing forward, and thanks for listening.